All right, welcome. It is the 19th of December 2023. I'll paint the picture for you. It's 14:01 if you use 24-hour time. And you've got a week to think about something that's going to be launching on Boxing Day, as well as think about your goals for 2024. Now, as you can see, we have a bunch of stuff on the table here. You probably can see the cash. We haven't done that to sort of, pretend we are successful. We want people to start associating what we do with them earning money and cash, because that's what we do. So the agenda of 2024 is to make as much money as possible in this space. Now, obviously, don't take that literally. There's going to be some planning. It doesn't mean you go out and smash things in your first month, but that should be your goal in 2024. So on Boxing Day, we'll be having a Platinum Squad sale. So first 30 people will get it for $897, and then we'll probably do something for the system for the current subs. But apart from that, we just want more people, more elite people in our community in 2024. We're kind of sick of beating around the bush. We just want to target people who just want to go and get the bread. Sorry to quote the bread on the table, Lenny. You didn't want me to do, but in 2024, we just want to see more elite people in the community. So yeah, that's the intro to the podcast. I don't know if we want to start talking about any specific topics, but recently maybe start talking about Lenny's new venture.
Sure.
Tom?
Yeah, no, I'm happy to speak about that. I think more so just like mirroring or following on from what you've said, like we're really setting the agenda kind of for the next 12 months to be like, we're not going to chase people, right? Everything that we've done, built over the last 3 years is like mapped out for individuals that want to make money, that want to take the piss, that are sick of living, in mediocrity, want to get ahead, whatever it may be. Like everything is mapped out there. And now with this new kind of mentorship that we've got Lenny involved in and what we got him on board for initially, we're literally like allowing people to full blown take the piss in this space. So like if you want to make more money, follow all the steps, do what's required, and then throw your hat in the ring.
What does take the piss mean?
Lenny.
Yeah.
What does take the piss mean?
Define take the piss.
Well, if you think about what we've built over the last 3 years, right? We started off as JP was hustler, Steve and I were the system. We started out essentially. I can't even say that with the straight face.
Well, in the blog last year,
we merged together.
I spilled the beans though. I said I was the one there the whole time.
Anyway, the point is, I think for almost 2.5 years, probably the last 3 months, we made a bit more of a shift, but we've really focused on trying to turn every single person into a match better.
There's more of a progression with learning.
Definitely. But I think we always used to focus on, all right, this person knows nothing about match betting. Let's tailor all of our products, our services, our time into teaching people the basics of match betting. And I think we've made more of a shift now in like, we're not just going to go and chase everybody and trying to convince people that match betting works. Once the switched on smart individuals that have a bit of money or have an income or want to make their money work harder for them, join our community, commit to it, go through the content, learn it and start making money. Those are the individuals that we want to be like, all right, cool. You've taken the first step. You've done this, you've done this, you've done this. Now let's take you to 10K months or 5K months or, 100K in a year. That's what we're focusing on, I think, a bit more. So if you want to throw your hat in the ring and be part of that, there is a roadmap that's been built for everybody, which is, you can start at the system or you can start through Platinum Squad or you can start on the free course that we've built. And then from there, you can take this as far as you want. Now, Mayo discussed that in his podcast and literally said, you can go, it's a money glitch. You can make as much money as you want once you've done the basics, but you have to actually go and do it first. So I feel like we've shifted a little bit and be like, cool, we'll still produce all the free content, teach everyone the basics. But for those that want to take it more seriously or who fit the mold to be a weapon, we want to make sure that we're providing for them as well. And I think that's what we've kind of shifted to a little bit.
We don't want to also, like you said at the end there, you clarified it. We're not going to move away from still nurturing people in the first month. Not. You've still got a customer service coach when you jump into the system. You're still expected to start with a $10 unit size, all that kind of stuff. Even if you have 10K bank, you probably would start on a low unit size. But we never had that product. We touched on it last podcast. We never had that. Yeah, we don't have that like ability to make people go to 100K.
So I think that's what we should probably clarify, because particularly Platinum's messaging over the last 3 years is defense, keep your accounts alive. And obviously that is still very critical. But I think the industry has changed. And I know that my messaging to most people now is, yes, like defense sustainability is still as critical as it always has been. But if you don't do defense, your accounts are potentially looking, you're going to get banned. The way I'm seeing it, from what I'm hearing from people, you're going to get banned 10 grand. Maybe less, 8 grand. We've had a few people. I had a free call with a guy recently. He came in and he'd done no defense, no sustainability, taught himself match betting, and he lost he made about 8 grand, and he's like, fuck, now I want to make more money.
That's someone outside of our community.
That's someone outside of our community. Someone who was never with the system, never with Platinum Squad, never understood defense, just opened up accounts, did no sustainability, no nothing, rinsed all his accounts, made 8 grand, fantastic. But reality is he probably left about, what would you say, 20 30 grand on the table.
Easily. If someone like that as well, like they've done that off the back of all of their own.
Yeah.
Like
they're very switched on. Yeah.
People like that are leaving, I think, way more than 20K on the table.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying with the accounts in his name.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fair.
So this is what I want to sort of move into move the discussion towards now is like, well, people who are listening right now who are current Platinum Squad members and current system members, they're thinking, how the fuck are we going to make 100 grand? They're like, some people are probably sitting at 15, 20 grand profit. Obviously, Platinum Pete's been on the podcast. He's had his sports bet and Tab's still been.
Yeah,
lost his Tab
a few more than
recently,
just that.
but
yeah. So
but he's sitting at 25K.
But he's sitting at 25K, absolutely. So he's really cashed in on, the education, the knowledge, etc. But, like people who are in a similar position to him who haven't started scaling, we're essentially going to make it a lot more easier for people. And we're not going to shy away from this whole idea of scaling and using multiple accounts. Is that something we want to talk about?
I think we initially were kind of wary of doing that because A, it might scare people off. B, it's not something that you do in your first 6 months.
Correct. 100%.
But I feel like we've now been doing this for so long and have a really big community and a really good kind of foothold in the marketplace and the industry that people know we're legit. People know that match betting works. People know that there's so much money to be made. And as you touched on, like we've built all the foundations for people to set up your accounts, look after your accounts, juice them for that 20 to 30K that you can make from your set of accounts. And we're now providing that next step.
Yeah, correct.
So that there isn't a cap on what we can provide to our community.
Yeah. So that's what I want to clarify. There is a next step because for people who are listening to this who are just relatively new, they're like, there's no fucking way I'm making 100 grand off my own set of accounts, sort of thing. And
100%.
like, whilst you'll probably come in and say it is possible. It is possible,
but it's not.
But it's not realistic in my opinion.
It's the top 5%.
Correct.
And that's someone that's probably come from like tens of thousands of losing dollars on their own accounts.
Correct. And so there's a number of different variables at play,
But I just want to clarify that if you are thinking about scaling, do not, as Tom said, do it in like the early stages. Don't do it on day one. Don't even think about probably month one. It's probably more of a sort of 3+ month thing. And you still need to learn the fundamentals because if you don't know the fundamentals, then you're going to fuck the same thing up on the other set of accounts as you did here, which will ultimately cost you way more money than it would if you did it properly. So let's talk about the
easy segue into that is
Lenny.
If you speak about like Mayo, Greeny, Max, anyone that you see that's made 50K or more, they all did the free course. Platinum Squad, started on a $5, $10 unit size. They all ticked every single box to get where they're going to get to. Now, the program that we've got Lenny now running, all of the members of part of that, apart from one, who is an absolute exception to the rule and it doesn't even fit the mold, all of those other individuals are system, platinum, patient, built it up, and now got to the cap. You can't just start at the cap. So maybe Lenny, unless JP, you want to kind of intro it, what's going on?
I just want to,
What are we providing?
Well, Lenny can give you the details, but essentially, like, I want to also talk about Lenny. He's only 20. Last Sunday, he went to Tassie. The Friday after, he went to Perth, and he's onboarded 2 young members of the community. How old are they? Like 20 and 21?
21 and 20.
21 and 20. Both, how much is the second one made already? Not much, yeah? Like
Western Australia, 30K in over 2 years.
Cool. And then the Tassie is 50 something.
Years,
yeah. So they both started really low, but just seeing the ability for Lenny to go over there, sit with him one-on-one, I like I love like everything's sort of tracked out and planned. They onboard, they understand what the process is. They then get access to him forever. So just to clarify, it is a one-off mentorship fee to get access to Lenny forever. And then he literally takes your match betting from wherever it is now and wherever you want it to go to however high you want the ceiling to be. So maybe give us an insight into
essentially what's happening is like even those two, they made 50K and 30K. Like it sounds like a lot of money, but they're all kind of similar where they're at the point where they're like, they don't know what to do with their match betting. They're kind of stuck and they feel like they're
at the cap.
What unit sizes, let's say...
Tasmania was on $150 unit size. Actually, they both were. But they both kind of feel that like they were at the sort of peak of their match betting based on their own kind of knowledge.
In terms of scaling, they just couldn't...
In terms of... It's just like...
Scaling in terms of unit sizes, I mean. Like in terms of like just doing things to a higher level.
One, it's like they've been doing the same thing for so long because it is so hard to take that next step on your own to work out what to actually do. And two, because to actually take that next step, the time and effort required to put into it without actually sort of having the information handed to you is just
100%.
Takes a lot.
I'm so glad that you said that because it's even the same at like the basic level, right? If you go and do it and learn it all yourself, like you did initially, that takes you so much longer than if you go, fuck this, I'm going to spend $500 or $1,000, invest it so that I have everything that these people have done over 2, 3, 5, 7, 10 years at the tip of my fingers straight away.
Yeah.
So I can have all of their methods, I can have all of their tricks, I can have all their knowledge, I can have all of the knowledge of the whole community of 850 people that are doing it right now like this, which instantly makes you, 100 times better than you would be on your own. Now, all these individuals that you're kind of mentoring, how have they taken to that? Like, I mean, you were pumped as how much money they made on their first weekend after you set them up. But how have they taken to like, have they absorbed it like a sponge? Are they blown away? Have they changed certain things? Like, how do they take it when you sit in front of them and tell them, do this, change this, add this to your setup?
It's essentially like, it's all information. Like they're experienced guys. They're the top of the game kind of already with what they're doing and how much they've made. But it's essentially just, I guess, fine-tuning what they're doing and making it like they already know what they need to do. They just need to sort of have more direction and I guess like clear a few things up. They have questions on certain things and it makes them kind of question what they're doing. They might not do some things because they're kind of hesitant. They're kind of scared about it.
There's one thing I want to say that I've recently sort of been a big advocate of is, I don't know if validation is the correct word or if it's like reinforcing is what I was looking for, reinforcing. So like when you think you are doing something correct, but you don't know, to have someone then come in and be like, yeah, that's correct. Or do that differently. That's wrong. Do this. Like, it's just how much that's worth. Well, good luck. If you're an elite individual, not just with match betting, but just in life, having the ability to learn that shit and to have someone, an expert tell you, you're doing this correct, like a coach at the gym, whatever it is, it just makes you have one less thing to worry about. And that's where the value comes. So it's like a lot of people, we're not even going to sort of discuss the cost of the mentorship program, but it is obviously significant if in inverted commas compared to like the cost of platinum. But then it's like some people look at it as like a huge cost, then other people look at it as just a tiny fee. Like, for example, one of the blokes on the weekend made 30% of his mentorship back in 4 hours. Feedback, is that correct? And then the other one was 25%.
Yep.
So like in a day, they've made 25% of their lifelong feedback on something that's probably going to make them, I'd probably say both of those individuals, as well as the third one, would turn over
as
and
much
profit.
as they want. Like it's literally, you can make as
between
much as you want.
The last three, what would you say they're going to profit in the next year and a half?
That's what I was going to ask.
I would say
they've made 20 and 30.
I would
already.
say,
what are they going to make in the next 12 months?
Between three of them, I would say. Add in
who's the third one?
Add in the 2018 match better, who's been match betting for ages. That you were sort of in shock by. I'll get into that in a second.
Yeah, they'll make nearly $500,000 combined
in the next 12 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking more, but yeah, that's conservative.
Well, one of them will take up majority of that space.
Yeah. So yeah, like we're talking a bit in code here, but like these people aren't making like 10K in a year. They're making like 100,
10K in a day. Some of them.
Yeah. I'd say that you'd even be obviously the price of platinum, or the cost, whatever you want to call it. How long do you reckon it takes someone to earn back in quotated?
I hate this convo.
How long do you reckon it takes for someone who signs up to platinum with basically no accounts? How long it takes for them to earn back that 1,097? Oh, like they're just they're a standard. They got Sportsbet, Neds, PointsBet, like whatever. Just a typical person who starts out, gets into platinum. They probably take maybe 2 months to earn back the 1,097.
Yeah, I mean, some people. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could do it in 2 weeks, but we don't want to push that because of the foundation. But 2 months. Let's just say very conservatively 2 months, but it's probably more like a month.
I'd say for this mentorship, people would be earning back the cost of the mentorship in half that time. Yeah.
Yes and no. I don't.
Yes and no.
I've been asked it a few times. I don't really like kind of answering it because
I know
everyone's in a different situation. Yeah. But at the end of the day, where are they going to be in 6 months? It's either they're
of course
staying on the same trajectory they are in 6 months, or they're well above that.
Something that Gator and Mason were very good at kind of articulating in terms of the course fee or the mentorship fee or whatever it is that what else are you doing with that money? So the way Gator looked at it is like, bro, I'm not going to have $1,000 sit in my savings account and make me $50 this year. If I invest $1,000, whether it's into this course or this content or whatever it may be, this lecture, whatever, I'm going to use what I learn and what I pick up and the skills that I build from spending this money to then turn the $1,000 that I've invested into infinitely more money. And anybody that's like smart or looks at their money that way is going to be doing that. And I'm not talking about just match betting. You look about, like, honestly, if you go on Google or look at any weapon on the internet that makes money, they all say the exact same thing. They all do the exact same thing.
What do you think every
they
business
invest stacks?
Consultants?
Yeah, correct. They invest stacks of time and money into making themselves into a full-blown weapon.
They just always keep growing and learning. That's their aim. Their aim isn't to just like stop today. It's just a never-ending journey of growth. And they'll just leverage anything they can to get better, even if it's 2%. It's not like, oh, fuck, what's that going to cost me? It's like, what am I missing out on if I don't actually buy it?
100%. And if you look at like all of our top line members, all of them have done the same thing. They all joined with not a whole lot of money, but with an eagerness to grow and learn and get more out of what they're doing. And then they turn into, like, they're all the same type of person. And then they just turn into a dead set weapon. If
you remember, Steve, you asked me what's the difference between how much should someone make from their account in their first year? And I said you either have what it takes and you don't. This is literally what I'm talking about. So the people who like, I want to make a video on this, like the difference between someone coming through the system or the free course and then being like, oh, fuck. Imagine like how are you charging $1,000 to sell platinum? It's like, and then someone's like, bro, it's just only $1,000. Like, and we've had those exact conversations, and you literally can see straight away which type of person they are from day one. And until you get out of that saver sort of money sort of hoarding sort of mindset, where you're sort of attached to money, you won't get growth.
I don't necessarily think it's. Yes, there's an attachment to money with it, but I think it also is like it might sound a bit mean, an inability to sort of be curious. To actually be like, what can this, like, what is this going to do for me? Like, it's like you see it, but you'll get told it. It's like, do this, turn your bonus bets over, set up your accounts. But it's like, but what does that mean? But it's like to be able to actually apply it to yourself and like foresee the next 6, 12, 18 months to actually like get big ideas and like, holy shit, this could turn into 20,000, 50,000.
That's the key. Seeing 6 to 12 months ahead is the difference between, I think that's where the problem is.
I think it's sort of like a vision.
It's the unknown.
Yeah.
Lots of people are happy to just be like, cool, I've got 10K savings. You know what? If I leave it in the bank, I'm going to make $500. And some people are happy with that. Yeah. Whereas there are other people going, bro, I've got 10K. My mates have none. How the fuck am I turning my 10K into 100K?
Well, it's not a competition, but yeah, that's how you should be thinking. And you
not
shouldn't
a competition, but like
you should be wanting to get ahead.
If you do the same thing that everybody else does, you're going to be the same as everybody else.
Yeah. I mean,
and those individuals that take the piss think the complete opposite way to that.
But you also have to be careful when you're thinking of how do I turn my 10K into 100.
It's such a fine line.
Because that idea in any other investment is you're done. Like crypto, you're done. Forex, you're done. Stocks, you're done. Gambling, you're done. Whereas this is a completely different thing. It's like we've been posting a lot of cash videos in terms of people seeing this, even though it's a piss take. You seeing the money turn from this into this into this is literally how you need to think. This, when you start off with $500, like Mayo, $800 he started with. Podcast is out now. We haven't disclosed how much he's made, but he started with 800. Lenny, $1,500 started with, how much you made? 150K?
Yeah, a bit over 150K.
From $1,500 starting, like it's that's not possible in any other investment, unfortunately.
Like that is genuinely
No, it's not possible.
I know crypto. I'd say it is in crypto.
But that's gambling. You need to get lucky.
Yeah, but you need to get lucky.
Correct. There's a risk element.
More often, 99% of those people, 99.9% of those people in crypto are going to lose that $1,500. Whereas if you do it right, 100% of people probably aren't going to make 150 grand, but you're going to double, triple, 10 times your investment.
But you also need to sell the crypto when it's the right time. When's that? You don't know. So like you don't have to sell your position here.
I think the way I was speaking about it is more so like the roadmap. When I say people have 10K, like how do I turn it into 100K? I'm not talking about overnight. I'm saying like they have this vision where it's like I'm either going to build a business and I'm going to use my 10 grand to build this and hire these people and do this, and that's how it's going to turn into 100 grand in 12, 24 months.
That's what I think this mentorship is doing for people, because I give, I guess, a clear path of what you're doing. You're not thinking about what you're doing in 6 months because you've been told what to do, kind of thing. And they have that direction. Now it's just putting their head down and actually making the money.
And that's the shift in focus, right? We've built a full-blown bulletproof roadmap for any single person with $1,000 to make their first 10 grand in 12 months. We've built that. That exists. It's existed for a while, and now that's grown. But now it's like, cool, we'll show you how to make 10. And then the people that are more switched on in the community end up making their way to, like you said, 20, 25, 30, and then they hit the cap. They get maxed out, they get burnt out, they don't know what to do next. And that's the next step now that you're providing to them.
So we want to go...
I'll touch on that quickly again. I tell people, I said this before, but I tell people that they're like, once they're comfortable, they're kind of doing the same thing for a period of time. They work their way up to that level of comfort, and then they get to that point where they kind of don't know what they're doing anymore. They're stuck there. And what happens when people get comfortable is, I reckon it's in every area of life, they just start to go down.
Well, Tassie was on the verge 6 months ago. I remember he messaged me. He's like, I'm not sure how long I'm going to do this for. He was sitting at about 30K profit.
Yeah.
He's made 25K since. He also said that he's not going to scale heavily.
Yeah. And
now he's in the mentorship program, because basically even the week before he joined, I was like, he's like, oh, it's fucking a lot of money. And he comes from a full-blown, like I told him, I'm like, you are the definition of a tight ass. Like, and that's good to tell him because he knows he is, and he said he is. And we speak like this because I can get along with him. But like after that, I'm like, bro, if you want to get, like, I'd be setting up my life. If I was in your situation at 21 or 20 or wherever it is, just set up your life. Like, if you want to do it. Like, it's there. It's for you. And the other thing as well I wanted to touch on, I don't know what you had to ask, but the 2018 match better, you got out of the first call with him and you were sort of in shock.
Yeah.
Like, I saw Lenny in the office get out of the call and he's like, what the actual fuck? Like, and that's...
Well, here's the thing about the match betting space is there's so much information, and I'd say I know a fair bit of information. Like, I've been in the space for 2.5 years now, and I've been sort of working with you guys in the space for the last year. Obviously, soak up a fair bit of knowledge when your whole life is it. But for me to speak to someone and still be blown away, just...
Well, that's the thing. Like, it sounds like, why would you tell everyone that you don't know everything on your podcast? It's like, because we don't, and we never will. And if you have that mindset of always being able to learn off others, you're going to keep learning. And the beauty of that is now there's 6 people currently onboarded. You have one of those people that, even though, what, more?
7?
6 or 7, I can't remember. One of those people potentially knows more than you about certain topics. But the beauty of it is he's got now, like, you're literally a partnership where you can just bang off each other, whereas he would be on his own. And now that person there is now going to fucking teach 6 others.
Yeah.
And then more people. And then it's just this is literally the power of association.
The other thing I wanted to say to that is that, like, there would be people listening to this going, oh, I'm not sure if it's worth it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I'm going to get out of it. And there's a guy that Lenny's onboarded that knows more about match betting than Lenny and hasn't batted an eyelid at doing it.
Yeah.
And has also added XYZ to his setup that he didn't know existed. And that's also the community aspect. So the more and more people that end up getting mentored, the more and more, like, information that's going to be available to those people, and, like, the bigger, like,
it's the same
opportunity there is for every single person.
It's literally the exact same as
100%.
JP never says, I know everything about match betting, so that's why you should sign up to Platinum. I still learn, like, what?
There's 900 brains.
Do it on your own or do it with 900 people.
Yeah,
literally.
900 brains will always beat 1 to 4 brains.
With something like this, everyone's biggest objection is always going to be the cost of it.
Yeah.
Do you want to touch on why it's worth it and why, like...
I don't really want to, like... I don't want to convince people, like, it gets... Like, at the end of the day, you can see it as X dollars spent, or you can see it as how much you're going to gain. And if you look at it in those two things, you'll find the right people will... Like, it's not a thing that we're going to onboard hundreds of people on, because it's just not possible to do that.
Definitely not.
But we have had heaps of people. We haven't even touched on pumping it yet or talking about it. This will be like the official talking about it. It's been mentioned a couple of times in Platinum Squad. A lot of people who have gone through the process of, they come to me first and then I send them to you on a call, and then you ask them whether they're suitable, whether they have the bankroll, whether they want to actually do it properly. You've said no to how many people so far? Like 3 or 2?
3, yeah.
Yeah. And then other people, like 1 or 2, have also said, no, it's not for me or whatever. But there's probably about 20 waiting in my DMs that I need to actually get back to. And sorry if I haven't got back to you yet, but it is a little, like, I'll send you like a proper 10-minute voice to explain it. Rather than just sort of, hey bro, here's this, whatever. So
yeah, it's not the same as buying Platinum, getting all the content sent to you. Like this is like full blown. Lenny's going to sit down with you, spend hours with you in your first week and a half, nutting out what you're doing, how you can do it better, and what he's going to implement into your strategy. And yeah, it's been elite to see. And I think my favorite part about doing it was, don't think Lenny had fully grasped how nice it is or how good of a feeling it is to make other people money, or for people to be like thankful for what you've taught them. And the first guy that you onboarded came into the office the other week and bought you, not that you're a drinker, but bought you a nice bottle of scotch or something to say thank you. And you were like really chuffed with that. And then you saw the 2 guys on the weekend make 20%, 30% of their fee back in one weekend. And you were like, fuck, that's pretty cool. Like that's an awesome thing to have seen you kind of enjoy. And that's something that we had our reservations about, or definitely myself early days, is that like onboarding you in the team, you struggled to understand kind of the benefit of helping other people, or, you know, what you can get from that. And it was nice to see you get some reward for your effort that wasn't money.
You won't understand that until you actually do it. Like, a lot of people would be asking, like, why isn't Lenny still betting? If you made so much, why don't you just bet? It's like different. Helping people is a bit different, but I don't know.
Well, that's what Mayo asked us.
Yeah.
At the end of the podcast.
So
why
don't you still bet?
Exactly what I was saying. I got comfortable. Just wasn't learning anymore, doing the same shit week in, week out. And then when you get comfortable, it drops off. And that's exactly what happened to my betting.
To be fair, though, you did make 150K before you stopped. So that's a bit more than most people before they stop.
Yeah, but it took me to that point to where I was like I couldn't learn anymore without sort of pushing out.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough.
Which is when I started working here.
Yeah. Nice. What did you have to say?
What did I have to say? It's sort of, Lenny already touched on it, and we already sort of shut it down, I guess. Well, Lenny was sort of like, I was sort of going to say, like, you know, obviously there's people out there that are probably thinking potentially in Platinum, like we obviously have a lot of people in the system who are so hesitant to join Platinum because they think they know it all, they think they don't need it, they think they can do it themselves. I imagine there's potentially people here who would think the same thing here. It's just a natural way of life. I think it'd probably be less because people have seen the value of Platinum already, and you know, they probably had that feeling before getting into Platinum. They got into Platinum and they're like, oh shit, yeah, it's worth it, sort of thing. So I don't know whether, like, you know, touching on some more specifics potentially around, you know, the risks associated of having the wrong information and doing the wrong things, and what that can potentially mean to you, and how that can potentially mean that, you know, you end up much like, you know, people who try and, on a more relatable note, people who try and teach themselves Betfair without the correct education, they lose $3,000. You know, a guy that you know very personally. You know, obviously it's horrible, but he recently just messaged the other day saying just had a blunder on Betfair, and obviously I think he has Platinum.
Yeah, he was like one of the first ever members.
Yeah, but like even so, like, you know,
but he hasn't been match betting for like 2.5
years.
Yeah,
but like, you know, he lost a sizable amount of money on Betfair through a mistake, and obviously, you know, he has the education as well, but it's still a risk for everyone. But it's particularly a risk for people who don't want to do it, and then they end up, you know, they don't want to invest the money into Platinum, and they lose more money due to the fact that they don't invest initially. And I think there's, it's a very sort of similar concept here. At the end of the day, there's different risks associated. We're talking about betting, turning over large amounts of money, large amounts of bonus bets, large amounts of accounts, large amounts of things that can go wrong. The whole dynamics of sort of running your own set of accounts, potentially increasing that to be your mate's set of accounts, running that dynamic into sort of where we're potentially talking to with this mentorship presents itself a whole nother different set of problems, a whole other different set of consequences and risks by doing that. And
not even to that level. Start like we're kind of semi-promoting scaling here. There's no reason that you should start scaling if you don't know what you're doing.
This is what I want.
If you start with one account, there's it doesn't make it any easier.
So the Tassie bloke joined, I think, because the reason this is how it works, right? We didn't sit there and be like, hey bro, join Elites. It was, or we call it Elites, like mentorship program, whatever. This guy reached out to me on a Saturday. It was November. I was November 29, maybe after the last sort of losing day of November, and he goes, hey, I just got stat decked on 2 companies and I've got like $500 or $800 in these companies.
Grand, yeah.
And I'm like, all right, I'll message you on Monday. I'm going to send you a long voice. You need to join the Lenny mentorship program. A week later, he was in it. And the reason he joined was because he now has a roadmap to not get stat deck or to minimize the stat deck. Obviously, if you don't know what a stat deck is, we kind of discussed it earlier this year. A bookie can hold your money until they're satisfied with your verification process. And if you're doing that in a wrong way, i.e. like Steve mentioned, you're on a girlfriend's account and they decide to keep the money, it's kind of like bad luck.
And it's very common nowadays. It's like if you make any kind of mistake with this realm of like using other accounts,
good luck.
You're no hope.
And that's what I said to him. I'm like, you're going to end up like over the course of a 12-month, if you're doing scaling like to even a low level, you're going to encounter a stat deck because you did something wrong, which will then cost you. One, if you're doing it without platinum, you're going to be paying probably 1.5 times the course fee in money that would just go to the bookie. And then if you're doing it at a high level, I'd say you probably lose 5K to 10K in a year just on fuck ups.
I mean,
maybe more.
That number is really arbitrary depending on how large you take it.
To give you an example of how it works, you could be using someone else's account. You've got no clue what you're doing. All you do is sign up and deposit money, and then next minute your account's locked and that money's gone forever.
Yeah, literally. One of my partner's cousins was doing some high level scaling. He's not part of our community, but he did some pretty high level match betting stuff. And I was talking to him at one of the parties last year. He had 8K once stuck in a Bet Deluxe account, and I don't know if he got it, but it was a massive sort of 6-month fucking chase to get the money, and that could have been avoided from simply the information that obviously is going to be part of that and whatever else that we provide. So that's again, long term, it's like, well, how much am I saving myself by not joining, and then how much am I making by joining? It's like, there's your value in just that.
There'd be people as well probably listening going, oh, these guys are fear mongering or whatever. And dude, come and jump into the DMs. There has to be at least 2 to 5 people that are not members of our community every single week saying hey bro, this happened. I know you guys teach this. How do I get this out? What do I do here? And it's like, man, and some of these people have made like 5, 6, 7 grand that have like 800, 900, $1,000 locked in these accounts. And it's like, dude, all you had to do was invest that and learn the skill, and you would have avoided the situation that you're in right now.
And these people aren't just like randoms that have just found us. You go back in the conversation and they would have asked about Platinum 12 months before, and then they come back 6 months later or 12 months later like, hey bro, I've got like 15 accounts banned and I got $2,000 stuck in my Nation, Bet Nation or something. It's like, well, what do you want us to do?
I had a free call with a guy probably about a month ago, and he basically made a very rookie mistake. No sustainability, set up an account, a very sort of, a sort of rogue bookie. Like, I can't believe you'd ever open up an account with them without opening up another 40 beforehand. But that's what he did. He ended up opening this account, made very, very rookie mistakes, like instantly could see what happened. And he had $700 frozen in that account. Stat Deck lost the account, lost the $700. And then I jumped on a free call with him, and I was like, look, mate, this sucks. Obviously, it's not fantastic. You can still chase that up. The account was in his name. So I was like, at the end of the day, you probably will get this money back, providing, you go about it the right way. But treat this as the best sort of kick up the kick up the ass that you need. And I was like, get into platinum. He's like, yeah, mate. Like, he's like, I'll admit I would not have gotten into platinum if this hadn't happened, particularly so early. And he's like, because this has happened, he's like, yeah, I'm going to get into platinum. This is sort of the best. That's the thing. Like, it was, you know, he was in the lucky situation where he got the kick up the ass early on. And so now that's meant that it's going to pay massive dividends in the future. But some people don't get that kick up the ass until it's way too late.
Yeah.
And then, you know, some people, you know, just unfortunately get the kick up the arse and they still don't want to bite the bullet. But, you know, essentially it's somewhat of like an insurance. You can think of it as some ways like an insurance. When shit goes wrong, you're fucked. If you don't have insurance, when shit goes wrong, you're fucked.
That's a good way of putting it.
If you know, you can be like, nah, fuck it, I don't need car insurance. I've never crashed. I've never needed, but the one day you do and you don't have it, you're fucked.
Yeah.
And so, like, what are you going to do then?
The only difference is the insurance in our community doesn't cost you ongoing. It's just
it's a one-off, and you get a lot more for it. My car insurance don't give me a Discord with band bots and all that sort of shit going in. So, yeah. But yeah, of course, getting a bit silly.
But no, I got a message today from someone. He's like, I just got banned from X bookie. That's it. I'm not following anymore until I'm in platinum. I'm like, cool, whatever, do it. Hurry up.
Yeah, that's generally what it takes. Is it takes a big mistake, not a big mistake. You know, getting a ban is it's not the be all and end all of a mistake, but it takes a mistake for people to wake up. And we're sitting here going, don't make the mistakes. Like, literally. Don't make the mistakes first. Yeah. Like, you're just shooting yourself in the foot.
Sometimes people have to make those errors though.
Some people do, yeah.
I'm like that. Like, for me to learn, I have to make mistakes personally, but other people don't. They'd rather not make them.
And we're talking pretty big mistakes here.
Yes.
And particularly
down the line, like, I've heard stories of tens of thousands of dollars lost to bookies locking money in accounts. And there's not a whole lot you can do about it.
Yeah, wasn't there that story? It was a bit unrelated. I don't think it was really match betting, but even Bet365, was it you that were telling me that story?
Some guy on Twitter.
Oh, it was on Twitter, was it? Yeah,
heaps.
That's right. He was just a high volume, small ledge punter.
It hard for him to verify. They weren't. Like,
they were. He had like
money or anything.
25K.
Oh, okay.
No, they were. They wouldn't let him get
until
his
he
money
got verified. But yeah.
But like that's what we're talking about. We're talking about Bet365.
Full-blown like bank statements from the last like 12 months. Like 12 months of bank statements.
What were they trying to argue?
I'm not sure.
But as soon as he obviously been punting, backed off.
Oh yeah, of course.
But like
that's where we're at though. The bookies are getting more brazen. Like we're talking Bet365. Obviously, one of our members recently had Ladbrokes, got stat decked by Ladbrokes. It used to only ever be 12 months ago. It was only ever the real sort of small rogue bookies, where if you're doing shit that you probably shouldn't be doing with them to begin with because of the type of bookie they are, that's when you got done. But now even we're talking sort of the bigger names ones.
Even Tab.
Yeah,
if you don't do it properly, you're fucked.
Yeah,
just flat out.
That's the other benefit as well. Like if you're in the community and there are weapons in the community that are running, mass sets of accounts, and they do notice I've noticed that Tab are doing this now. The second that gets fed back into the community, you have that information in real time.
Yeah,
I honestly can't see how anybody that makes 10 grand a year match betting wouldn't pay $1,000 just for that information, let alone anything else that you learn.
It's the up-to-date information that's crucial.
They don't think that way though, because we may not like that. That's probably not known. Like unless we personally telling people that's what's in it, I reckon it gets filtered out. Like unless you, hey bro, join, or they ask about it, you tell them. But like we're not publicly like we probably don't promote enough.
I don't think people quite understand the value of that. Though, at the same
and also
time.
what it is.
Yeah.
But potentially like I'm gonna dob us in a little bit as well. I think we were a bit like that ourselves in our own business. Like we've only recently like gone, okay, fuck. The whole time we've been like, we can always just send out, we can do all these emails by ourselves. Like, and then we went and invested in an email marketer, and that's fucking going fantastic.
No, I agree, yeah.
And then we were
definitely
like,
we have been.
JP invested in this book and goes, all right, I bought this book. Like, you need to read this. And then we've gone and done that and changed things. We've bought like courses, landing page, etc. Like, we're doing like what we're preaching. We're also practicing.
Yeah, we're doing it now.
And I feel like we didn't do that for a while, and maybe we even hit our cap or got a bit stuck, and then we're like, fuck, bro.
We definitely got complacent.
Like, let's invest more money. Let's turn our business into a weapon as well. So I've enjoyed that part of doing that, because I feel like are we maxed out at 500 subs, or can we only get 30 new Platinum Squad members a month? And now it's like, bro, we haven't even scratched the surface. And I really hope that match bettors that invest feel the exact same way. Like, holy fuck, my horizon has just gone from here to fucking here.
Put it this way, how long ago was it when you had 500 subs?
12 months ago. We had 500 about 12 months ago.
18 months ago?
No, around spring last year,
around spring
we had
last year.
500.
Over about 500.
And then we hit 539
Spring last year, how many staff did you three have?
staff.
Yeah, how many workers was in this kind of business?
2 or 3.
We had the customer service coaches.
They were just getting started.
2.
August, October last year.
So
Three.
not quite early.
We
spring.
had an editor for.
Oh yeah, we had a couple. Yeah,
We had Riley,
And Isaac for
Laura.
a little bit. Laura was
Yeah.
doing some bits and pieces.
but like I would.
Yeah, nothing. No. But now we have a
Fair
full-on
Point is,
team.
how much have you spent and like sort of in hiring and
Too
sort
much.
of- yeah.
no, not too much.
Nah.
That's what we're saying.
No, but
I'm
that's a
being
great.
sarcastic.
That's actually a good point. Like we would have invested in our team more than $100,000.
And the rest.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
100K.
We
yeah,
have
a lot more than that. I'd say a lot
No,
more than
more. That's what I'm saying.
So like, there'd be people like, "What do you do all day?" Or like,
and an office
how
so
does
that
this
we can collaborate as a
How
team.
does this
Actually.
operation run? Yeah, that's probably $200,000.
Well, we're probably looking
I'd say
at
more. I'd say 250.
250 to 300 before
Yeah.
we make a send.
So that would
So
be.
come on.
Again, it's the same
Yeah.
shit.
We're getting
You're
into like
spending-
people.
We're practicing
People
what we
like
preach.
hearing
Is
about
my
this.
point.
Yeah.
My point is
But
like
yeah.
we're also investing in doing this or getting this or improving this. We're doing the
Yeah.
exact same thing that we're teaching people. We're not just sitting here like in an ivory tower.
You
saying,
can't grow by
do
yourself.
Of course you can't. It's impossible.
Like we were 3 people running a company or 2 companies from our fucking houses, and it's like
Via text message. It's
Mate.
just a fucking
Yeah,
nightmare.
when I first met you guys and you said you barely ever see each other in person. That
we
was-
literally would see each other twice every 6 months.
I reckon I'd only ever seen Tom's face like twice for the first,
Which
like
is really
ever
fucked.
in
So
life.
we did like tipping collaborations.
and I was fully like,
and you had a Trumpy mask on half the time.
like the surprise I had when I heard that. I was
Hey!
like, what?
Yeah.
No, but that's the benefit of like learning and growing and making mistakes and like changing your
Yeah.
goals and like
I think one thing that I've taken away from this, and it relates back to the match betting space as well, is like sometimes actually investing into things, the best thing that you find out is that what you were doing beforehand was what that you were doing beforehand was the best way to do it.
Yeah, right.
Like we've had some learnings where we've expected ambitious results and we've expected to fucking go to the moon and all that shit, and we've actually it's sort of made us realize, hang on, we have a very good understanding of what does work, and this has sort of further validated that what we were doing previously was very good, which in itself is somewhat like is growth in itself, like because then you know, all right, well then I just need to sort of keep allocating resources to what I know definitely does work, sort of thing. It's all like, and that's a very much glass half full approach at looking at an investment that hasn't necessarily paid off, sort of thing.
Well, that's reinforcing and validating.
But it's validating what you were saying
Yeah.
before. It's all down that sort of pathway. Yeah.
Yeah, we've also like recently tried to like scale things and try and automate stuff, and probably gone away from certain things that we are good at, which we kind of have touched on recently. But that's
But that's what I sort
that's
of
just
mean.
learning. Like,
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, you can't know until you've tried to change things.
I'd say that the biggest difference or benefit, I guess, of people that are listening to this going, oh yeah, this all good and well, these guys are investing in stuff, but they're just saying it to get me to invest in their stuff, whatever. The things that we've invested versus what we offer, and we've stopped telling people about this, and it's so dumb, is that both through the system, if you subscribe, and also through Platinum Squad, we offer a full-on profit guarantee. Like we're guaranteeing you that if we don't make money or the stuff that we're teaching you doesn't work, that you will actually get your money back.
Yeah.
So we went through a period of a 30-day period and a losing calendar month about, what was it, 6 weeks? Oh, no, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And we refunded like 17, 18 subscribers who were on a monthly subscription as their first subscription. So we've done it before. Those individuals invested, tried what we did. Most of them still stayed, and we still refunded them their first month subscription. So as somebody that's like curious to learn or on the fence, you actually have nothing to lose. You don't even have to bet in your first month. And even if there isn't profit on the results, you get refunded. It's the same Platinum. If you're like a match better or someone that's like curious on making more money, you've got some savings, JP is literally saying, bro, buy my course. And if the course doesn't make you the course fee back in 3 months, you can have your money back and I'll give you $500 for wasting your time. So like you have nothing to lose. You're just sitting there kind of like, oh, what the hell? And like, just fucking take the plunge. There's no risk. Literally no risk.
What happens if you lose though in your first month? Do you refund the losses?
Yeah, if they commit to giving us a percentage of their profits in the future,
Good answer.
which is what I say to every single person that asks that when they ask it. Usually the people that ask that are never going to subscribe. by the way.
I actually want to mention this customer. He asked about the refund 4 days before his month when he joined. So it's from your sub period, like when you join, like if you join today, if we don't profit on our official results in a month, you will get your first subscription refunded, or 3 month or 6 month or whatever. But he goes 4 days away. I think we're sitting at like -7 in that period. He asked about it, and we're like, hey man, like at the end of the four more days, we'll determine whether we're profitable or not. Anyway, we went like +12, so we finished +5. And he's like, hey, I was just being cheeky, whatever. I just wanted to, a spare $100 would have been nice anyway. 3 days later, he watched the Gator podcast and he buys platinum. He's 18. He's like, fuck this, man. He goes, like, I've sent him a voice message. It actually made me feel so good, like him writing that. He wanted to just be like, fuck yeah, I want to take this by the balls. And I just wish more people were like that, as opposed to being like, oh, yeah, I'm going to get refunded and then I'll probably just cancel because this doesn't work. And it's like, they only got refunded by going like -13 was the worst, right? But that's 13% of their bankroll. Like they're still got.
And they wouldn't have been following for the first 2 weeks as well.
So like he's gone from asking for a refund, even though I think his mindset was good, to then joining platinum. And I can guarantee you in 6 months' time, that kid will be a weapon as well. You can just see from day one who's who. And I just wish more people were like that.
How does someone be like that?
They just got to. I think.
I wouldn't be like that. So tell me as an 18-year-old how to be like that.
Well, I think you just have to like think you can do it in terms of like you got to set the bar high, like in terms of your goals.
So you guys, okay.
So like you want to like be competitive firstly. Like you don't want to be with yourself, right? Not with others. So like you want to say, all right, well, I'm good enough. So why can't I achieve that?
If they can do it, why can't I?
Correct. And there's been people, man, in our community that have achieved like dumb results in terms of like ridiculous, and they didn't even know a single thing about betting before they started.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to start trying to remove the words betting and gambling from my mouth, because we are investing.
Yeah.
No, we're not fucking we're not gambling. We're not betting. Like
no.
We are betting. If you define the act of placing a bet on a company, like that's the act of us making money needs to do that.
Yeah.
In this,
think of betting as literally investing. Investors
if
bet,
you're doing it with
they gamble.
Structure,
yeah, correct. Yeah. I'm correct.
Saying,
but investing
investing
just has this nice idea about it. Oh, he's investing.
But do you know investors?
It's like they're fucking probably losing if they're not doing it right.
Literally,
you know? but they're investors.
But if you're buying stocks blindly, you are gambling.
100%.
And people,
but you're investing, so you're like you got your shit together. That's what people hear when they hear the word investing.
You don't know what the fuck you're doing.
No,
like,
I know.
You could be buying a dividend stock that'll pay you, I don't know, 8% year on year. But like,
but if you get 100 match bettors in a room and 100 investors,
they'll get reamed.
And there's just a big crowd there, and you go, all right, we've got 100 people who are gambling, and they're gambling with edge, and you've got 100, or you don't even need 100. You have one or another. You got a person who's betting with edge, or you've got an investor. No other clarification about what they're doing, just they're investing. Everyone in the crowd is going to be like, oh yeah, he's got his life together. He's a fucking degenerate. Legit. Like straight up, every single time.
But what they don't know is in investing in external to match betting, you need to create your own edge, which is getting a bit deeper. Yeah. Like you need to actually find a way to beat the market. Whereas with match betting, you have the edge given to you.
Yeah.
They literally give you this, and you have the ability to push the buttons to turn it into that.
Yeah, legit.
Like that is literally, you don't, when you sign up to a stockbroking platform, you don't get $3,000 for free. Like you might get some little fucking bonuses.
A USD coin or something.
But like you're given that, and you're not just given it once, you're given it every fucking weekend.
Yeah.
So you just push the buttons and turn the money into real money, and it's a glitch.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how you have
I don't know how we got onto that.
But you asked me how do you make yourself one of those people that has it?
Yeah.
Well, how did you get it? Because you were, I mean, you're a bit different because I think you're being pretty high level with whatever you've done in sport and stuff prior. And it's just how you are. You're a competitive family, and your dad's competitive and whatever else. But what about your mates?
Yeah, I don't think you have to be competitive.
I don't think it's necessarily. I think that's just, you're just saying you just need to drive. You just need to be driven. Yeah, like whatever makes you driven to complete a goal, to pursue a goal.
Everyone wants to make money.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
everyone has not enough.
I think for me, it was just putting myself in the position in the first place. If you don't put yourself there, you can't kind
just
of
open the door.
Yeah. I didn't have a job, just put myself in front of my computer and match betting. That was
like, what did you
I
do?
knew it worked.
But where did you find
this?
match
Is in
betting?
terms of making the money I made. I knew it worked. I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
And then it just took the realization that one day I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna kind of take this to the next level.
I think to also answer your question, I think you need to actually watch content and learn. Like, you don't just magically click your fingers and know the match betting works. Like, do the free course, watch some podcasts, get inspired by other people that are just normal people, and then be like, why the fuck aren't I doing this? Because the beauty of match betting is as well, you're not actually, it's not a full-time thing. Back in like 2018, 2019, you could probably do it every day. Like, we used to bet most days, like Sunday sessions, and now it's just kind of like Saturday, Wednesday, and then you do your stuff in between. Your full-time job, 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, has no impact on your investment of match betting. So it can be done fully mutually exclusive to your job, which means it's so much more flexible. And some of the best, like Mayo, right? He does 6 hours a week.
That's it.
And like, we're not disclosing what he makes, but he's on a $150 unit size. 6 hours a week is what he spends.
Yeah, that's insane.
And he even started like employing people to invest for him, not bet, on the Saturday, because he now works in a full-time sales job. So it's like he's now using those skills to like appreciate time and essentially making passive income. And it's like, man, like that started from $800 and a free course.
Yeah, I reckon I look at it a little bit differently in terms of what kind of person, because I don't think you need to be competitive, and I also don't reckon you need to have that much drive. Like, I think if you're someone that's either can save money, if you can save money, you should be match betting. If you're thinking about the future and you're looking to buy shares or actually buy crypto and not trying to get like a Dogecoin that's going to fucking boom, and you just like, oh, I just want to get some Bitcoin and have it for 5-10 years, whatever it may be. If you're someone that thinks like that, more often than not, you wouldn't be match betting because you don't know that it exists or you don't know what it is. Because if you have that kind of mindset where, cool, I'm going to save, that's someone that like has delayed gratification. You know that like, I'm just putting money away because I'm going to use it in the future. Or I'm going to invest in the future. And if you have that kind of mindset, I don't think you have to be like super driven or super competitive. You just have to be able to look 12 months, 18 months, 24 months down the line. And I actually do think quite a few people can do that. They just don't realize that they're doing that because that's just the norm, right? Like, everyone just tells you to save money, or like when you've got a bit of money, you know, your grandma might buy you some shares or whatever. And people do think like that, but they don't understand that that's just delayed gratification. But there are other ways in which you can get to where you want to go significantly quicker with those like attributes that you have. So if you have savings, or you're investing in crypto or investing in shares, bro, do the free course and have a think about what you could do with $1,000 over the next 12 months. You don't need to have fucking stacks of cash. You just got to think that way and operate a little bit differently. And there's, as Lenny said, you can literally make as much money as you want. Like, it's baffling that more people don't do it, honestly.
Well, I had a call with someone yesterday who's quite a high-end, he's 22-year-old, I won't tell you who he is, but he's making 15 to 35K a month in a job where he's basically doing Airbnbs to USA and putting out a roadmap for Airbnbs, completely like off topic. But we had a free call. I spoke to him for an hour and a half on the phone. The free call went, and he's like, bro, how many members do you have? I'm like, oh, probably like 1,200 across all 3 products. He's like, why the fuck do you not have thousands? And I'm like, well, I went a bit sort of hard on myself and sort of said we're a bit like, we're probably not, I don't know, we've been elite at sort of growing. Like, we have to appreciate we are 1,200 members is a lot. Like, that's huge. But then like, he's like, why don't you have 10,000? And I kind of didn't really know how to answer that. I think it's obviously multi-factored or faceted, whatever. It's because of us not doing certain things, but it's also because I don't think a lot of people actually believe it works.
I'd say it's just because people are so close-minded. They see the gambling industry and it's just automatically red flag.
And they can't be fucked as well.
Laziness is the biggest thing for me.
I think it's that. That's what Mayo said. Yeah. He literally said what did he say? Can't be fucked or something. Mayo, why people don't do it?
Well, excuse his French, but he said because they're lazy cunts.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I fully agree with that.
French, you reckon?
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Well, they're his words, not mine. So, I never say that word.
It's delayed gratification combined with laziness, because you don't get the results of this in your first month. Therefore, you see the first month and you give up.
Yeah, wait for the video that I made yesterday.
Is it out?
No, I haven't posted on Instagram yet. It's in my drafts.
Oh, the one on TikTok.
Oh yeah, did go on TikTok actually. Yeah.
Your friend. Can I mention your friend?
Who's my friend?
Family friend.
Sure, yeah.
She almost threw the towel in after a month because she found
it was like 2 weeks,
or 2 weeks because she.
I don't think she almost threw the towel in, but she was like, she was like, oh, I don't know if I can be like,
she's a mum.
This sort of thing. Yeah, she's a mum. No, she's got one kid.
Yeah. One kid, mum, husband.
I'm listening.
And basically, she's like, she'd never bet before. She just never fucking doesn't know anything about sport and all the markets. And she might know sport, but she didn't know how to find the markets. Yeah. And she's like, probably we need to fix this up in our content. We don't actually teach people how to use the apps or like how to actually navigate across like Sportsbet or Bet365 or whatever. So she's like, that was taking up so much of her time at the start, and she kind of just almost like, oh, what the fuck? What's the point of this? But then yesterday she bought Platinum. And now she's like, I'm ready to do this properly. And it's like, of course, like you actually got through the hardest bit is like seeing it and justifying the time you invest at the start.
Yeah.
So it's not, for some people, it's not laziness. It's kind of like they're not willing or they can't see the gratification that comes later.
I think, now that you explain that, I think it still is, as sort of what Lenny was saying as well. People still aren't convinced it fully does work as well. So I think there's that element to it. And so then particularly with, my friend, I think she made a bit of profit and of course I've known her for years as well. And like, she knows that I'm an honest person. So we're not selling a scam sort of thing. Well, yeah. No, of course. Yeah. But like, so that helps. But I want to do a quick video. I want to do a quick explanation on the podcast.
Are you in there, right?
Yeah, I'm in it. It'll be very quickly. So basically, JP, we're talking about delayed gratification. And on the table, everywhere, I think there's about 10 grand roughly on the table at the moment. And everyone sees 10 grand and goes, fuck, I would like that 10 grand. I bet if whoever's watching this going, I wouldn't mind 10 grand. The only problem is you can have this 10 grand. Anyone can have this 10 grand. Like there's people who are following that have probably made 10 grand, probably made more than that. But if you're someone who has never matched bet before, you can have this 10 grand. And I'd say that on average, you're probably going to get that in your first 10, 11 months, I reckon. I
was going to say 9.
I was going to say 9, but I'd say, let's play it safe. In your next 12 months, if you start match betting today, you will have this 10 grand. It won't be cash because who the fuck has 10 grand in cash? We have this because people receive cash differently than numbers in their bank account. But anyway, you can have it. The only problem is in your first month, that's all you've got. That's all you make. Now, you probably make a little bit more, but for the point of this, that's all you're going to make in your first month. You're going to make that $60.
For those listening on Spotify, how much did you just tell?
$60.
3 $20 notes. So $60. That's all you get in your first month. So if you can't be fucked, you only make that $60. Well, then that's it. That's your $60. So see you later. That's all you make. Now, in your second month, all of a sudden, what's that about? $140? You make another $140. So after your first 2 months, you make $200. Hopefully, what you see there is not the fact that you've put in, 3 or 4 hours every single Saturday for $200. Hopefully, because a comment we get a lot of the time is, well, I could just go pick up a job and earn more than that. More like luck. You made $200 in your first 2 months. I could just go work a job. Yes, you could. Correct. And you're going to make potentially $400 doing those hours over your first 2 months doing that job. So you're going to make double, but you're only going to make $400 over those 2 months, 12 months down the line. Whereas 12 months down the line, all of a sudden, month 3, you make $400. Month 4, you make $600. Month 5, you've all of a sudden, you see where I'm going with it. All of a sudden, it compounds and it grows. So if you can't put up with the fact that in your first month, you're only going to make $40. Now, you probably make a little bit more, but you're only going to make $40, maybe $140. If you can't push through and be patient enough, then you literally don't deserve the $10. Stay broke.
Someone actually messaged us, Steve, this morning, and I mapped it out for them as a system sub.
Oh, yeah.
He said, how can you make $10K on a $15 to $20 unit?
Maybe he doesn't see the idea of scaling up unit sizes and stuff.
Yeah, well, that's what I wrote. I said first 3 months, $10 units, approximately $750 profit. That might be tiny bit over. So that's in 3 months, though. Yeah. Then I said next 3 months, $20 units, $1,500 profit. So 6 months in, you've made about $2,200 profit. Then I said the next 3 months, $40 units, $3,000 profit. The next 3 months, $50 units, $4,500 profit. The end of that period, that's $9,750 profit in 12 months on a on a 65% bonus turnover.
Yeah.
So Platinum Squad members are going to far surpass that. But that's literally a roadmap. $750 in the first 3 months, $1,500 in the next 3 months, $3,000 in the next 3 months, $4,500 in the next 3 months. It compounds.
That's not including anything else.
No, that's just following the system.
Just on this too, all these numbers that Steve and Tom were just throwing out, I'd say they're very conservative.
Very conservative.
You can push this way more and make a lot more money a lot earlier than what's being said.
These are based on the assumption that you do things basically at the slowest rate at the baseline rate. And let's be honest, most people wouldn't do that. But we've set our bar low so that, under promise, over deliver sort of thing.
Yeah.
But every single one of us, I'm sure, would have made more than 10 grand in their first 12 months.
Yeah.
And I'd say, most people would make 20, 30.
In my 6th or 7th month, I had a 12 grand month.
Yeah, I remember your comment in the Discord.
Yeah.
You wrote
That's definitely not normal, but it is what's possible. Yeah. But as I said at the start, all of our content is built so that if you don't even know what the fuck it is, first you learn what it is, and then you have a dead set roadmap, like Steve Lenny said, very conservative, but you have an actual roadmap to 10 grand in 12 months.
And if you're not sure,
it's fully there.
It literally, there's help everywhere.
Everywhere.
And I remember Lenny, when he made his 12K, I can maybe get the screenshot up. He literally said, I remember the words, I can't see myself having less than a 12K month ever again. That's it. Once he saw it work, it's just like,
yeah, because it was actually a really shit variance month. And I'm just like, what?
And he still made 12K. And then he made 28 or something, didn't you?
Yeah. The next one was 22. Yeah.
Nah, but was there other stuff we wanted to talk about?
Not sure.
I think this has been really good.
I wanted to talk.
Waffle on with rubbish unless it's good.
Yeah. Can we talk quickly about the system results? I wanted to touch on November because we kind of haven't dumbed down this idea that I want to push to everyone following.
Do it.
So,
but I agree. Let's not waffle on too much.
Nah,
we've been 10 minutes. An hour roughly. Yeah.
We in November we had. I wish I could get a whiteboard, but I can't. Negative 13 units for the month, right? Which is the first time ever that the system's lost in a calendar month. However, it's the fifth time ever, or 6th time now, that we've lost in a 30-day period. So it literally was normal. But what I tried to explain in the video, which a lot of people watched, a lot of people didn't though, was that the negative 13 month was just the average coming out in the long term. So for example, October was plus 63 units, best month ever. Mm-hmm. November was negative 13. You put those 2 months together, you get plus 50, which is 25 average. We averaged 29 officially. If you
then you add the 40 units of December, we're literally bang on average over a 3-month rolling period.
And you add 8 in September and 46 in August. It's literally that. And the thing I want to float to subs, I wrote this in Discord. I want everyone to think of their system bankroll, the amount of money they allocate to the system. Let's just say it's 2K, right? You've got $120 notes. They're literally 100 units, okay? This 100 units will never get to zero. I don't want you to think of it as 2K. I don't want you to think of it as 15. I want you to think of it as 100 units of money. Because even though the system might have a losing day, losing tip, losing week, this will never get to zero if you follow it and you turn your bonuses over. So if you take November, the worst period of November was negative 24.2 units between about 20th to the 29th or 18th, don't quote me. So you've lost 24 units. You still have 75 round down. You've got 3/4 of your bank left and you still keep following. 2 weeks later, you now go 100 units, you get back 40. You now have 16 units more than you started with. And that's the extreme ends of variance, if we like to call it variance. But the point is, this will never get to zero. And if you stick to this and you allow that to grow in conjunction with what Steve said and what Tom said around the compounding effect of the units, this $2,000 will become 15 in 12 months or 12 or 25, literally.
But why is that? Why does it go up? Why did the system have a losing month? Okay. Why does it go up from there? Well,
we have an edge, right? So every time a horse places, Steve's probably better at explaining this, let's just say 30% of the time the horse places, we're going to get a bonus back, right? Which means that we don't actually lose the unit. We do lose it, but then we get it. So let's just say we have a $20 unit size. We lose 1 unit when we place a bet on a horse that finishes second or third. You get a bonus back. This money goes, but you then get it back as a bonus. Now, a gambler throws this in the bin, and gamblers on a roughie. We teach you how to turn it over. This 20 becomes $13, which is 65% of $20. So that 20 you lost, you minus 20, but then you get it back as $13. So you've lost 7. Now that mathematical edge is not just on one tip or one race. It's across the board. Now every horse doesn't place. Some win, some lose, some place. But because we have that there, it's impossible that it can lose.
So you've essentially just had a $20 bet on a horse, but you've only lost $7.
Correct. For that isolated tip. Now we've had 6,000 tips.
One thing I'm going to do for the purpose of a reel right now, because we've got the camera up and the money. I'm going to do that exact same thing, but I'm literally going to use what happens with the real money so people can see it. You put $100 on a horse. The horse comes second or third. You lose that $100. You then get $100 bonus bet back. Obviously, this is bonus now, so we'll just like it's bonus. It's only $100, but it's not a real $100 note. It's a $100 bonus bet. What gamblers do, as JP just said, gamblers take this and they just lob it on a stupid multi, a stupid roughie, because they just see this as not real money. In reality, this is what you turn it into. You literally turn it into $70, into literally cash like this. So imagine you go up to a bookie, you're at the track, you go up to a bookie and you go, hey mate, here's my $100, chuck it on number 4 at $6, whatever. Number 4 comes second or third. The bookie comes back to you and says, hey mate, you can have this $70 back. Literally take this $70. We'll call it square from there. Or I'm going to give you this fake $100 note and you can just go and have a free spin at absolutely nothing. If they were literally going to give you $70 back, you'd be like, yeah, I'll take the $70 back every single time.
Yeah.
For some reason, because it's not cash, people don't do it. I don't know whether there's probably a number of other things.
It's just the genius psych behind it. It's like if you partially give someone back their money, which you are with a bonus bet, the bookies know that there's a high likelihood that they're just going to throw it, because the act of a bonus bet like this is it's not yours. That's the idea. It's like, oh, fuck it, I may as well try and turn it into 5K.
It's not mine. Correct.
Like,
it's not mine.
Like, fuck it.
I'm playing with house money.
I already lost my 100, so
but
what's
then,
the worst that can happen?
But they're actually throwing away. Like you use 70, like we track conservatively at 65.
Yeah, I would have done 65, but I don't have.
But obviously, but then platinum members are getting 80 back. Yeah. So this becomes fucking 80 every time, and it's 80% of the stake.
You literally just get given $100 back by the bookie.
You're really betting with free money to a degree, because not on every horse, because not every horse places. I'm
looking at our the results like right now. 26% of the time the horse wins.
Yes. I knew it was around 30.
32% of the time we get that scenario that you just. So that is the edge.
Of course.
32% of the time, 32 out of every 100 times we tip, the bookie is giving us free money back.
Yeah.
That's why you cannot lose in the long term.
And then you combine that with, okay, a lot of people will be like, oh, why would I sign up to you? Or just lob horses and pick who you're picking, how many units you're putting on them, how many horses you're selecting. Like Steve's built a process, which is the system, which has years of data, which we're always evolving. Like, for example, you might like a horse, or you think you know a horse. It's like where you're putting half a unit, 3 units, 1 unit, one and a half.
It's honestly not even
deeper.
Yeah, it's not. I was going to say it's not even that deep. Even if you just go, oh, bro, anyone can do that. My guy, do it.
Yeah,
do it with your own betting. I don't give a fuck if you don't follow the system. But every time you get a bonus bet, if you do what Steve just said, you will have more money in your pocket.
To clarify,
simple maths.
To clarify what we're doing, we'll put a link on YouTube. That actually shows a bonus turnover video, and it's also in the description.
I'm going to break it down very, very simply for people who don't quite understand what edge is and what we mean by that's our edge. 32% of the time we get bonus, well, that's our edge. What edge means? Edge literally means that for every $100 that you bet following the system and following the processes that we outline here at the system, you get back $116 for every single $100. Now, for someone who follows on a $50 unit size, we've outlaid roughly 160 units a month times by 12, roughly 1,900 units, $50 unit size. For someone following on a $50 unit size following the system, they've roughly outlaid about $96,000. So as I said, you outlay $100, you get back $116. You outlay $96,000, you get back $111,000. So you instantly just make $15,000 profit straight away there. That is what edge is. Now people will be like, "Whoa, well, you could lose." No, it literally that is our edge in the long term. Yes, any individual bet, any singular week, any singular month now even can lose, but over a 12-month period, maths probability literally says that this will happen.
That is assuming you actually have a unit size and a bankroll, which you can
obviously
lose if you have $2,000 and your first fucking 20 bets.
But I said, like, you follow the system and do everything that we outline in our processes, in our content, in our education, and that is the bare minimum. $50 unit size people are going to be making more than that as well because they're doing other things.
The second thing as well for subs, I don't want you to think of your investment starting or ending on a day or a month or a week. I want you to think of it as a never-ending investment where you decide when to stop. Going back to the 100-unit rule, this will never get to 0, remember? So the longer you follow, the more this gets, literally, over the time. Now, it might not get up in a straight line every week. You might not make exactly $150 every single Saturday. Some weeks you might lose 4% of your bankroll on a Saturday. But in the long run, that's going to keep going up and it's going to start compounding, like Tom said. So don't delete the start, good end, good finish. Fucking just, 12 months. At the end of 12 months, how much am I going to
do it? Yeah, I reckon it's a bit like tough for people to be like, don't consider it as any time period, because it's like that's just a hard thing for the human brain to comprehend. But it's like, don't look at it as you decide when it ends. Look at it as a 12-month period or even a 6-month period, even a 3-month period.
Minimum 3 months.
Minimum 3, but 12-month period. Look at it as what are your total profits over a 12-month period from your start date, and then judge it after 12 months or judge it after 6 months. Otherwise.
I think we can pretty much wrap it up. That's a lead explanation. I was just going to say, anybody that, and I've seen this happen heaps over kind of the last probably couple of weeks after they got through that negative variance or that losing period, if you will, is that if they're so worried about that, upgrade your subscription. Subscribe on a 3 or a 6 monthly subscription, and then you don't have to worry about it. You're not sitting there going, fuck, I didn't make money this Saturday, or I can't follow this Saturday. Who cares? Because you're here for 6 months.
I think we should actually...
That's another thing about the investing. Once you put the money in, you're kind of more determined to actually do it.
Of course you are. You've got skin in the game.
Yeah.
And I said to that we literally had a guy that who cancelled because he's like, yeah, bro, I probably can't follow this Saturday, next Saturday. I said, man, subscribe for 6 months, save yourself some money, and don't worry about this Saturday.
What do you mean by save money?
Well, it's cheaper per month or per Saturday.
What's the
difference? If you want to break it down to per Saturday, it's significantly cheaper to do that. But also, your skin's in the game and you're not going to be worried about, shit, I'm only subscribed for a month and I'm going to miss 2 Saturdays, I'm going to miss half my... Bro, it doesn't matter. Just stay here for 6 months. Do it as often as you can, like Pete does. Pete doesn't do it every Saturday. And reap the rewards later down the line.
And then you have no expectation on, I have to make X dollars by a month. And it's like, I will make X dollars by fucking... or not X dollars, but I'm going to be here for 6 months. And in that 6 month period, we know you're going to get results.
Of course.
Because you have to stay unless you just bail and don't do it.
To wrap it up, what is the summary of everything that we've spoken about?
Spend money to make money.
Well,
But I wouldn't even say you have to spend money particularly.
Just making people aware of what is possible.
Correct.
Making cash is so easy in this space.
Correct.
It's the best investment on the planet. By fucking good luck trying to compare it to anything else. It's just do it and give yourself 6 to 12 months at it.
Get stuck in. If you're not sure where to go, you can message us. You can write in the Discord. You can send us an email.
And this applies to everyone across the whole journey timeline. Someone who's never started match betting, someone who's just on the system, someone who's on the system and platinum, someone who's on system, platinum and sports, someone who hasn't even looked at potentially expanding and scaling up their operation, someone who is scaling up their operation and looking to really blow it out of the park. Literally anywhere across that timeline. Just if you want to grow, we have options for you.
Yeah. So everything that's relevant will be in the description, free course, whatever. But if they want to get in contact with us about the mentorship, where should we send them?
Send them to you.
Send them to me.
Yeah.
If you have Telegram, at the Hustler Squad. If you don't have Telegram, just DM the Insta.
Yeah, and I'll make sure that it gets to you.
Yeah. And then I always like putting comments in the description for people. So maybe think of a question.
I wanted to finish the podcast on something to challenge people that have listened to it all. So if you have a question, do that.
You go.
Well, I was just going to say that if you've listened to this podcast and you have $1,000, if you don't make $10,000 in the next 12 months, you're making a choice not to make that money.
Yeah.
Like it's literally on you from here. The roadmap's there. Go and make it. And then fucking join the mentorship the next year.
And then if you, that was kind of like, that's definitely 100% true. And then if you're someone who has made some money and you want to sort of convince someone else in the YouTube comments and they're sort of still on the fence, answer this question. Lenny actually asked this question last time in your one. You're like, why wouldn't someone do it in the next 12 months? So if you just said you're throwing it away, name one reason as to why you wouldn't do it in your next 12 months. That's from a non-sub or a sub. Go for it. Just write it in the comments. Like, why wouldn't you do this? Or why do you
so
think
the question is, why
might
aren't you match betting? Yeah. Why are you deciding not to make $10,000 in the next 12 months?
If your answer's time, that is the biggest bullshit answer. All
right, well, that's out. It's a good.
Nice. Now no one will write that. That's good.
Perfect.
Why is that? Fuck me.
Why is that?
No.
We won't get into it. Yeah. They can think about
Get into that podcast.
Cool.
All
right.
Go make your 10K.
Make sure you subscribe as well. We're going to get content out, so don't miss anything.
Yeah, please do.
We need more subs.
Please make $10,000 for your sake. Goodbye.
Not subs on system. I meant YouTube.
Subs on YouTube. Please subscribe to YouTube.
So if you want to learn what match betting is and how to get started, there's a free course linked directly in the YouTube description. It goes for 60 minutes. It contains a number of videos explaining how it all works and how you can get started for free today.